Good afternoon. My name is Michael. We're at Nostalgia Street Rods today. And this featured car here is Art's Personal 23 T-Bucket. These are very popular in the 60s, early 60s. There was a lot of TV shows that had cars like this featured on them. They were pretty much a fiberglass body car, and they would just add a motor and transmission and everything to it and make it real lightweight, so it was pretty fast. This particular car has got a fiberglass body on it, like a lot of them do of that time frame. The one thing they'd try to do back then is they'd always try to incorporate some older features on a car, like the Model T had, like these lights here. These are actually kerosene. You'd light them up, and it had a little ventilation on top here to let the heat out. It also has lights on the back similar to that too, but it also has electric lights like these added to it. This has kind of got a whole bunch of different old school things on it. These have Cal custom valve covers on it, which aren't made anymore. This box type intake manifold on here, this is made by Edelbrock. They only made this about a couple of years, and then what happened is they went to the tunnel ram setup, which is a whole different scenario. So this is pretty rare to see. I've only seen a handful of these myself on a few hot rods. One other thing I'd like to point out on here too is this radiator cap. This is actually a temperature gauge. If you look at the back side of it here, this has a thermometer in it, and the hotter it gets, the thermometer gets more red as it goes up. So that's how you tell your temperature on this thing. And I'm sure a few of these had also a regular gauge added to the engine compartment on the inside. One thing on these T-Buckets also I wanted to mention is a lot of these never had front brakes on them. So you've only got rear brakes only on it. So wherever you're driving with this, you've got to really allow yourself a lot of room to stop on it. It can be a little hairy. The other thing with these two, typical the time period, they had little bitty, almost bicycle tires on the front and great big meats on the back. That was very common with these back then. And the other thing was a lot of these actually, most of them had side pipes on them as well, as this one does. That's also another pretty cool feature. On this side of the car here, I was going to show you the steering setup on it. Now this is kind of unique. The steering system on these, the steering wheel goes straight down, and it connects with this rod down here, and it goes all the way up to the front of the car to the wheels. Because of the way the motor was put in a lot of these, you didn't have room for a steering box, so that was a setup back then. It worked. It was just a little tricky or sketchy by today's standards. I mean, I see a lot of these being driven. I don't know if these were ever driven great distances or not. I would judge probably not, because a lot of them had a very small, like an 8 or 10 gallon gas tank on the back. So, but it's a very good part of the hot rodding history of the 60s. These are, like I said, a lot of the TV shows featured these on them. There was a whole bunch of different shows and stuff that had these on them. You still see these out at car shows. You don't see them as much as you used to. Unfortunately, like a lot of things, the people that had these at one time, they're all older folks now, so they're not taking them out as much, and they're just not being seen as much. So this is pretty rare and pretty cool that we've actually got this today. This was actually Art's personal T-Bucket, so it's nice that we've got it, and it's so well preserved here. So this car too, of the typical of this period, this has a straight axle on it. It has radius arms that go back to the frame on it. The other thing about this too, this has kind of a buggy leaf suspension on it. It goes across like this. A lot of the buggies had this for many years. Ford cars had this up till 1948, and then they finally went to the parallel spring setup on it too, instead of just one. The other thing I was going to point out too on these Model Ts, most of them only had a door on the passenger side, not on the driver's side. And the reason for that is on the passenger side to the outside left, you had a handbrake arrangement on the outside that was in your way. So, and it would be very hard to get into the car because you couldn't get your leg by the apparatus and everything. So they only have a door on this side, so you get in and actually scoot across to get in there. That's one thing I think they did all the way through the whole entire series from 1908 to 1927. They did it that way. This is a fiberglass body, but they did it the same way as they would have been originally with the door on this side. Of course, great big meats on the back. I don't even know if you can buy these tires anymore, but that was a big thing back then. It was very much in vogue at that time with the T-Bucket. The gentleman that actually came up with this idea for a T-Bucket, his name is Norm Grabowski, and Norm built the very first T-Bucket in 1957. He was also a actor, kind of a heavy actor. He did some heavy stuff on TV and I think a few movies as well. But he created the first T-Bucket and didn't really tell anybody about it. And then he took it to an auto show and showed it off, and it took off pretty good. Everybody liked the look of it and liked how stripped down it was and how you had all motor out in front and everything else, just everything about it. These cars too, you used to see them on early TV series. Like I know if you would go on to like early parts of Route 66, you'd see them in the background scenes on there. Another thing you'd see it on once in a while too was The Adventures of Dobie Gillis that had Bob Denver in it before Gilligan's Island. I did see a few of them on there a few times. And then just a bunch of other series like that over the early 60s. They were pretty hot back then. And of course a lot of this too was influenced as well when say the Munsters came on TV. They didn't have a T-Bucket, but their cars were very made like this, you know, especially the Munster coach, which is a different configuration and a four-door, but you kind of see where I'm going with that, with the design and everything. But just a very unique piece of American car history in the 60s that thank goodness we got it today, and we still have a very good example, actually quite a few of them here at Nostalgia Street Rods. So come on down and take a look whenever you get a chance and see what we have here. Thank you.